You give them to Jesus.
Amen.
Because he loves you.
Amen.
Died for you. Went to Calvary's cross for you. And just because you made a mistake, he didn't throw you away. We made it. But God doesn't throw you away. God puts you in his big loving arms and tells you every day, I love you. You know, me and Brenda, we lay in bed at night, and I know it's a little silly maybe to you, but we hold hands every night. And we tell each other we love each other. Because I want to tell you something, there's a bond there that you cannot ever break. Because it's a beautiful bond if you love people.
Amen.
You know, I don't care to tell you I love you. And I don't care for you to share your burdens with me. You know, I've tried to give prayer through the time or two. And it's a good thing, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
You get to pray. Anybody else? Just got a burden on your heart and you just want to share it and turn it over to Jesus.
You know, John, I talk all the time. Me and Eddie was talking. I think it was, matter of fact, just this morning we had coffee and we was talking. This church has been through a lot, even before the last little bit. This church has endeavored a lot, persevered through a bunch of hard times. And I know the ones here is God's people. This is where they belong. Me and Eddie was talking, we need to leave some knee prints on that altar.
Yeah.
There ain't nothing wrong coming to the altar. And I know what everybody thinks. I go through it myself. If you go to the altar, everybody's going to think, what's he done? We dedicated that spot in this church for all of God. And we're taught to lay it at the feet. And we're bad to let it down. I am. I can talk for Eddie. I'm bad to let it down and pick it up and take it back with me. But we need to seek out the right way and the right path. We're getting God's word, and he deals with us. And I know you preaching and Jeremy teaching and preaching, and we know the right way.
Yeah.
We just need to humble ourselves back to the right way. And I'm not downplaying anybody. I'm just talking as a church. We need to have a corporate way of praying. And that means you can't pray by yourself. But that altar is dedicated, and we need to pour our hearts out. And I know people do. And I'm not saying that we're all bad, and I'm not saying anything, but we need to, this year, we really need to put our eyes upon God and let God direct our hearts.
Amen.
I was impressed this morning, like I said, instead of saying, God, what am I going to do? It's what we're going to do today.
Yeah.
He said he'd never leave us, never forsake us. He'll lead the way. We think we walk through them doors. He lets us come through them doors.
Amen.
And we're here, everybody's here today for a purpose. It ain't by accident. You chose to be here. You got up and made an effort. And God's got something for you to do. Just seek it out and see what it is. And I'm talking to Eddie too. I'm not just talking to the congregation.
Amen. Amen. Had a lot happened to me last year or so. Lost dear friends. And one of the first people that visited me when I got back. Yes, go ahead. I'm good.
When I was getting ready in my kitchen, and I thought about how good God's been to me in my life, my Lord and my Savior. And right now, it's the most terrible time, but I still love Him every day.
Amen.
If it wasn't for Him, I couldn't go on.
Amen. Listen, our strength's in Christ.
Amen.
I don't have any for you. I don't have any strength without Jesus. Without Jesus, I'm a failure. I take my eyes off of him, I'm like Peter, I start sinking. How about you? There's not one of us in here that if we don't take our eyes off of Jesus, we start sinking. And I don't want to drown, do you? It still scares me getting in water over my head. And I can swim. I've swum all my life. But I like about chest deep water. So if I get a cramp or something, I can stay in depth. I don't want to go down a bubbly. You know, which I don't guess it makes any difference how we go. God wants us, we're going, all right. Whether it's a wreck or heart attack or whatever. You know, Eddie called me last night and told me about Sheila. And I said, Sheila couldn't have heart problems, sure did not. You know, what's she weigh, 120 pounds? I don't know, people. But you know what? We're walking around and we're time machines. God says that we have an appointed time. We don't know when that day is. You know, we can go to every doctor in the world, and we don't know. You know, I went to a spine specialist to look at my back, and he said, Johnson, there's nothing I can do for you. So I'm just going to refer you back to your regular physician. He said, because there's nothing that I can operate to fix. He said, you got trouble, but I can't fix it. You know what? I can go to somebody that can fix them. Yeah. Did you know that? Yeah. I've got troubles in life, and you know, I don't care to go around on a walker and cane the rest of my life. I have to, because I have got somebody that can fix that. And one of these days I'm going to. One of these days, God's going to come for me, and you know what I'm going to do? I said, you better look out, but I'm going to sling in that thing. I don't need it anymore. If I be going home with Jesus, a friend of mine, be finishing up his funeral today. After I get out of here, I got to go straight to Tazewell. Bless his heart. Good man, you know, simple man. You never did see him in the tight stuff. Most of the time he wore Bill overalls. He wears Bill overalls to church. And I mean, he was just a simple man. He had a little old farm up over in Tennessee, and he had a little cabin built up on that farm. And as far as I know, didn't have any electricity. Didn't have nothing. He liked to go up there and just rough it. He didn't care nothing about going to Hawaii or to Dollywood. He went up on that farm, sat on the porch, watched the deer and turkeys and stuff. Just a simple man. But you know what? He inherited a mansion the other day.
Amen.
Inherited a mansion. Because God loved him. Because he was saved by God's wonderful grace. And if you're here today and you're not saved, guess what? God can give you the same home he gave Virgil. Virgil was a true friend. First people that come and saw me, when I got home, I hadn't got all my strength back, to be honest with you. I heard a knock on my door. I just hadn't got back from Vanderbilt not long. And I opened the door and there was Peggy and Miracle. And come see me. Now, they didn't go to my church anymore. But they loved me enough to remember me and to come and see me. And, you know, I didn't even know he was sick till Brenda saw it on Facebook. And I called Jason and I said, Jason, how's Virgil doing? He said, he's not done any good, you know. He said, well, I got you on the phone. I want you to help me his funeral. And I said, you know, I'd do anything to work for you. Jason was my youth minister for about 10 years. And he's my brother, always will be my brother. You know, because he's not blood kin, but he's my brother. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It hurt me that Virgil passed away, but I knew Virgil had been walking around a long time. And when he finally got sick, 15% of his heart was on over. They estimated. And he's still fighting. You know, we want to live, but yet we want to go home. And I'm glad we're going to go home someday, don't you? You know what? I really don't feel like preaching today.
John,
I love his testimony. Go ahead.
I got a chance to talk to a fella from CCM Thursday night after the feeding program, and we got to talking about our community quite a bit and the struggles that they deal with there at CCM and trying to help people. And I got a chance to share my testimony, and he asked the question, for me, he said, so did they ask you to quit preaching, or did you decide to step down? And I told him my convictions and the reason that I stepped down. I went in and explained to him what all went on in my life, the struggles that I faced during that process of time. But in the midst of that, I was able to share the conviction that God's given me and the complete trust that He brought about in my life. What's amazing to me is I don't have that in me. Christ had to give it to me.
Amen.
And through all the things that I've faced in my life, as bad as it's been at times, which I've had a good life compared to most people, but when times are bad, He was my only hope.
Yeah.
And I look around at our community, our society, and struggle with the reality that we're heading in a bad direction. And we got to talking about how people in our community are dealing with the homeless situation. And it hurt me as much as it hurts God, I think. Because we've treated people as though they're a burden instead of a creation of God. So many people, and I dealt with it last week, somebody approached us and began to talk to us about they just need to ship these people off. They need to do whatever. And the question was, so where are they going to ship them to? What are they going to do? And so then the argument came, well, you all feeding them are just, you're just enabling them to continue what they're doing. And I tried to explain to them, look, we're just feeding them. We're feeding them one meal a week. And, no matter who it is, if it was your child or grandchild or a friend that was stuck in this situation, wouldn't you want to know at least they had one hot meal a week? But in that process of time, he got to explain what he's dealing with and some of the struggles that we're facing in the community. We have a major problem here in Middlesboro. If you look at this community, since I've been here for about 11 years, it's changed a lot. And it's not getting better. And I look around and I see so many churches in this community, and most everybody looks at the problems and says, someone else needs to deal with it. And my burden for this community and for this church and for all churches is the fact that Jesus, what would He have done? I started watching a movie last night. I didn't finish it. I fell asleep. But what was interesting was the whole crux behind it was a homeless man came to town, and all the church folks treated him like dirt, treated him like he was someone that they didn't want to mess with, and then he ended up dying. And it changed the whole mindset behind the church. He stood up in front of the congregation before he passed away and called them out for their unloving hearts and selfish desires. And I look around at our world and I see so much going on that ties with that. I want to ask us, and I got to ask myself this, are we more concerned about our convenience and our happiness, or are we more concerned about lost folks, those that are in need? Because Christ said that if we even give someone a drink of water, we've done it for Him.
Amen.
He said, as you done for one of the least of these, you did it for me. And I think sometimes we forget that this world isn't, this life that we live isn't about us. It's about Him. It's about honoring Him. And when we do that, we help others. And I'll just be honest with you. Until we as the church get back to that, we're wasting our time. We're wasting our time coming to church every Sunday and going through the motions and feeling good about ourselves and going home. It's not about that. God didn't send His Son to die so we can be conveniently happy and sit in a pew and be warm and comfortable. He gave us new life so that we can share it with others. And we as a church, not just Southside, but as a nation, have dramatically failed. And I say that because I look around at our children and our grandchildren and we see the thoughts, the actions, and the lives that are being lived, and it goes directly against God's truth. And I know we have an enemy, but we also have the power of God within the church. And God says the gates of hell can't prevail against it, but yet, for some reason, it is. So I guess I want to ask us as a church, what are we doing? Are we praying that God would move the hearts of this nation? Are we praying that God would move our hearts to be more desirous to be committed to His service? Or are we just happy and content with where we're at? Because I'll be honest with you, if we keep going the rate we're going, things are just going to come to an end rather quickly. And Scripture tells us that we're to be faithful in the generation in which we live. So my challenge for us, and I believe God's challenge for us, is to get more involved with people. We treat church like an organization instead of a community. And we need to start treating one another as family, as you mentioned already. Because the truth is, one day we're going to stand before God on Judgment Day, and either we're going to be in or we're going to be out. And I'm just afraid God's going to say, but what about these opportunities, son, that you had? What about this one that you ignored? What about that one that was sitting on the street and you'd rather call the cops on them and push them away rather than go out and minister to them? I just don't understand sometimes why we as Christian people don't treat people more like a creation of God instead of a burden to be dealt with. I'm going to shut up now and just allow you to think on those things.
Anybody else?
Since Eddie been talking there, it reminded me back, Helen's been dead now about a little over 5 years. And Eddie telling Judy how much he loved her from before all of us. Everything there wasn't that day that I can remember. I didn't tell Helen I loved her. And she told me on her deathbed at night, she died at 5 o'clock in the morning. My daughter said she hollered for me, hollered for her first, and then she hollered faintly. And she was on hospice, and she's supposed to live 2 weeks, and she lived. Well, she died on the 9th day, and I went in there. She took me to the hand. She said, I want you to keep our family together, pray, have meetings together like we have. My family's very close then. Christmas, it don't have to be Christmas. It's Christmas every time we get together.
Man.
And she said, I want you to keep the strong power of Jesus in my home.
Amen.
And last words she said to me, she said, keep on keeping on for Jesus.
Amen.
Take care of our home and our children. And keep our children together. And do your church, take care of your church. And she said, you know how much I love you in the church. I said, yeah. And I had to tell John, I said, honey, turn loose. Jesus wants you to go home. She shut her eyes, turned my hand loose, and went on with Jesus.
Amen.
And I'm saying, what I'm up here saying now, if you've got your wife, just like Eddie's got his, and you've got yours, tell them every day you love them and hug them and show them that you really do love them. This country man's got a way of saying, oh, she knows I love her. And I said, I don't get it, but I really don't get it. You bring her a little flower and kiss her and tell her you love her. And I'm not being sentimental with you, I'm being heartful with you and tell you God said, husbands, love your wife. And he didn't say it, he meant it too when he said it. Woman, love your husband. That's what we're supposed to do, Brother John.
Amen.
And you know, even our wedding vows we took, when you see them go out, you remember, says, take care of them till death do we part.
Yeah.
I thought of that while she's laying on that bed, that little crumpled up hand on my hand. And you know, we ain't got no promises tomorrow.
Mm.
When you see your wife go and you go somewhere, you don't know if you'll ever see him again.
Yeah.
And I used to, I worked with a fellow that kissed his wife when he'd go home for dinner. And I thought his name was Harry. I said, Harry, you think you won't ever see Nathan White's boy a Christian? He said, I could very well not never see her again. And he said, I kiss her goodbye every time I go to the store. And you know, really and truly, we can show our love in many, many ways. But a woman knows when you truly love, and a man knows when his wife truly loves him. And I think Eddie and his wife, and Brother John, you and your wife show truly from people that you really love your wife with all your heart. And you know, that gives you a peace. That gives me a peace in my heart to know that you got that much love in your heart. You let it show. Eddie lets it show.
Amen.
And I hope and pray to God that I let mine show. Thank you. I'm talking.
Anyone else? I've got 3 minutes. I can give you a 3-minute message here.
He does.
Well, want you to know this. I love, 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 love you. You precious. Please pray for me this afternoon. So I'll be in that funeral. And, pray for each other. We all need prayer. And we're all out to fail. You know, we can fall on our face, but you know a wonderful thing about falling on your face? That's a good place to be. You start praying your way back up.
Amen.
Amen. Because Jesus loves you. And he loved you when he was a dirty, rotten sinner. And he loves you even all through life.
Yes, he does.
Never throws you away. Never throws you away. I still get my money today, don't I, Eddie?
For the fish fry.
No, I'm docking you.
I was about 3. You need services like this occasionally.
Amen.
And I've enjoyed every bit of it. Share your problems with Jesus. Tell your friends and your loved ones to pray for you. We all need prayer.
Amen.
Amen.
Yep.
Eddie, you got a song?
I'm gonna get my wife to sing for